So we ended up sitting down watching the game, and all of a sudden, St. Louis does it, 21-0, completely knocks out the Dallas Cowboys, and then sure enough, the Dallas Cowboys come back in the second half and beat a Cowboys record for come behind victories and end up taking that win. And so,
what was their original record? Was 20 points, I think, in regulation?
yeah, and they came back for, I think, a full 21 that time.
21, yeah.
And then I think it ended up being like 34-31 was the final score. Something like that.
Like that.
Let me see here. Dallas. Yeah, 34-31. So came back right at the end and ended up still stealing the bet from Heath at the very end. And so now we got to think of something horrible and evil to make Heath do.
And at the same time, it was almost like I don't even like that bet in the first place because Dallas is terrible anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, it still would be, I mean, St. Louis.
But I mean, it's his bet. Whatever, it's his bet.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't too risque. It was definitely doable. But I mean, then we should just penalize him more. I think we should. We'll have to come up with something extra sexy to bring to you guys next week, just because Heath now owes us something horrible to do. So if you have any ideas, shoot me a message.
Let's
comment.
We got to give him a little background first.
Yeah, well, they know. We've talked with Heath a few times on the show, so they know he's a big-time 49er fan. And
but do they know how much he hates the Seahawks?
He does hate the Seahawks, as all 49er fans, I believe, do.
Bad.
And so, yeah, we'll figure out something. Maybe get a picture of him sleeping with a little cozy Seahawks bear, or something like that will make him put as the header of his Facebook page or something.
Something, yeah, that'll be good.
We'll get something with it. But yeah, if anybody has any ideas, definitely shoot us a little message, and we'll have something juicy for you next week.
Yeah.
And since on that, you did yours, JC, we did Heath last week, so it's going to come back around to me this week.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit earlier about that moral victory for Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's now gone 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chargers have looked pretty damn good.
Yeah, they've looked very good.
I think the Jaguars are going to beat the Chargers next week, and Bortles is going to be a top 5 QB.
Woo! That's a bet. See, now that is a good bet.
Yep, and it's for both. I can't just have one. I'm going for both.
Where's the game at?
You know what? I should have probably checked that before I made my bet. Hold on. Week 4, NFL, not Week 7. Come on.
I want to say it's in Jacksonville, actually.
It's not. It's actually in San Diego.
San Diego? Oh, shit.
So that's rough. And
that's very rough.
It's Jacksonville traveling all the way to the other side and playing at the 10 or the it's at least at the 1:05 p.m.
Yeah, with a quarterback starting for the first time.
With a quarterback starting for the first time, but
that's a tough one.
I don't think the Chargers are what we think they are, and I think Jacksonville's got.
Did you just say that in your best Dennis Green voice?
Yeah, I just don't have a very good Dennis Green voice. and my hate for the Chargers.
Yeah.
And I could.
Which is why I don't think you're thinking about this bet very well.
I know I
don't think you're thinking this through.
But I go big or go home.
It's true, you do. You do.
I did a 2-part bet the first time I did the bet. I'll do a 2-part bet again.
This time, all right.
But I think it's going to happen. I think Jaguars got some resurgence at the end of that game. I think their defense still isn't going to be very great, but I think that they're going to be able to hold the Chargers a little bit. Chargers are dealing with some injuries themselves, and the Jaguars just got some of their key players back.
Yep. and then they're starting to play some of their key players.
Yeah, which is
fucking mortals. So
I know, right? So we definitely have that whole aspect too. So it should be pretty interesting.
All right. Well, I'm pulling for you because anytime a top AFC team like that goes down, it just moves my team ahead a little bit more. So
I know, right? Down with the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll take that anytime.
So this week we also do, as everybody knows, our button hook breakdown, where we take something that is football related but isn't exactly the schedule and how the plays went, and just kind of break down an aspect of football or something similar to football. This week, I felt it was fitting with the craziness that we had today, was to do a little breakdown of the trick play.
Yeah, that shit went on quite a bit today.
Yeah, more so than First of all, we had 4 safeties this week, which was really weird.
Which is nuts, yeah.
So I mean, not that that's a trick play, but that's definitely something you don't see very often.
Right.
And on top of that, I don't know what the offensive play callers were doing this week, but we saw at least a half dozen people just pulling some weird ass plays.
Crazy ass plays out of their ass, yeah.
You know, starting with the best of the day, I'm sure you'd like to go into that.
Yeah, the old Mohamed Sanu to fucking Dalton touchdown pass, which was just ridiculous. Besides the play being ridiculous, I was incredibly impressed with Dalton being able to go up and catch that over a fucking starting quarterback, break the tackle, and then beat everybody into the end zone.
And for those listening that maybe didn't catch the game, as well as, you know, see any highlight reels of anything, because it's been on just about every highlight reel.
Yeah.
Mohamed Sanu, they ran like a sweep with him.
Yeah, first of all, he's a receiver. He's our second string, or not second string, but he's our number 2 receiver.
Yeah. And they ran that sweep to him to the side, had him stop, similar to what they do when they run a halfback option.
Yeah.
And instead of passing down the field, he passed
back
across the field to Dalton, who was kind of set up in a like wide receiver screen position.
Yeah.
Who wrestled the ball out of the air from the cornerback who was going to intercept it, and then busted a, 30-yard?
30-yard, yeah, it took about 30 yards.
30-yard diving touchdown in the end zone, like really showing the athleticism of that kid.
Yeah, it was really impressive. It was more impressive, like I said, with our new offensive coordinator, because last year, Jay Gruden wouldn't have called anything fucking even remotely close to that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Well, very risky. I mean, you saw it almost went pick 6.
Yeah.
But
it's nice that we have a receiver who was a quarterback in college. You know what I mean? Who can make those throws. So.
And what were you saying his stats were for throwing?
First of all, he's thrown the ball 4 times in his NFL career. He's got like whatever the highest quarterback rating you can get, like what is it, a 158.3 or some shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's got that. He's 4 for 4 for he's got to be damn near 200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He's 4 for 4 for we'll say 180. 4 for 4 for 180 and 3 touchdowns. Pretty decent stats for a fucking receiver.
I'd say so. I'd take those stats for my main quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's fantastic. So
you know, there's that, and then we also had, you know, everybody's favorite everything, Johnny Manziel, also decided to get in on some of that action, and they ran a pretty little play with him, if you guys didn't see it, where they lined up the entire offense, but only with 10 players, and then had Manziel on the field, but talking to the quarterback coach.
Those coaches, yeah.
Yeah, and so no one was even covering him because it didn't look like he was part of anything. And then when they snapped the ball, they just sent Manziel completely open down the field. It ended up being like a 35-yard gain or something.
It was like a 30-40-yard gain, something like that.
So
very interesting. It was a very ballsy, interesting call to do in the NFL. So you see that kind of shit happen in like Little League and stuff, but like being able to do that against a fucking, you know, an NFL defensive coordinator is pretty risque.
Well, it's kind of funny with the trick play because, you know, when it started, it was such a very simple thing.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point in time where a play action pass was a trick play, you know.
Yeah.
They had play action and the draw play where they would, hand the ball off out of a shotgun mode or, running a reverse, and that was kind of the trick play. But
Well, I
then,
mean, you think about probably like 10 years ago, the flea flicker was the craziest fucking thing you would ever see.
yeah, yeah.
Craziest shit.
I remember Seattle used to do that back in the Dave Craig days. They would do that old John L. Williams and then flea flick it back and go deep with the ball. So I remember definitely seeing some of that back in the day. But now that there's quite a bit of different stuff and different levels that they do there.
Yeah, these coordinators are definitely getting fucking tricky. That's for sure.
Something that you don't see much of anymore that I always thought was a very sexy was the old hook and ladder.
Yeah, that's always a fucking rad play, especially when it works right.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw it really work well was with Moss.
Randy Moss, yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was so smooth. When that works, it looks so nice.
And then I think there's a handful of ones that have kind of gone out the window. Some that don't have, that just don't work.
You don't see the flea flicker very much anymore.
Not often. You still see it though. I'm talking about things you just don't see anymore. Like, when's the last time you've seen a Statue of Liberty play?
Fucking never. I can't even remember the last time I saw that.
1948.
Yeah, something like that. I remember my grandpa telling me about it. Yeah.
And then Fumblerooski. Actually, somebody ran a Fumblerooski and scored off it last year.
I think that was. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I think that was last year.
I think it was Tampa Bay, if I remember right. And
yeah, it might have been Tampa Bay.
Everyone was just like, "What the hell?" Even the commentators were confused, like they couldn't figure out what the ball was.
And see, that means that you ran it correctly. When you fucking use everybody, that means you did that shit right.
And then we saw, I don't think it was last year, was it? No, maybe it was. It was last year. Stafford with the fake spike a la Dan Marino.
Oh, yeah.
So that was pretty interesting.
That was good, yeah. Well, we saw the fake spike. Who did that today? That was, someone did the fake spike just today. Was it,
I think it was in a college game, wasn't it? It wasn't in the NFL.
No, it was NFL. It was one of the new quarterbacks.
Oh, I might have missed that.
I want to say it was. For some reason, I want to say it was Bortles.
It could have been.
I think it was Bortles. I think it was a garbage time. I think that was his first touchdown. His first touchdown he threw. They got down. Yeah, they got down to the 1 yard line. He went to fake it, and he ended up throwing it to Cecil Shorts. So yeah, it was Bortles today.